gonna steal your sunshine and I'll shit on your parade. Don't get me started on doing Michael Caine. If my opinion matters, yours will fall in last place. I'm not shutting up and you'll be learning my name. Fifth in the family, but first in my mind. 1 out of 10, but I'm ranking just fine. We've only got now, there's no afterlife. Look, Mom and Dad, I'm just speaking my mind. Everything's coming up Kyle tonight. Everything's coming up Kyle tonight. Everyone's coming on Kyle tonight. Wait, what? No, nobody's coming on Kyle tonight. Everything's coming up Kyle tonight. You can't shut this mouth, but you're welcome to try. I only stop talking and drink, smoke, or eat and cry. I never shut up, gonna talk till I die. Gonna talk till I die. Everything's coming up Kyle tonight. You can't shut this mouth, but you're welcome to try. I only stop talking and drink, smoke, or eat and cry. I never shut up, gonna talk till I die. Gonna talk till I die. Gonna talk till I die. Gonna talk till I die.
Alrighty, everybody, welcome. We are live here with Season 4, Episode 11 of Kyle Mocha Won't Shut Up. I am your host, Kyle Mocha. Thank you, everybody, for joining us here live in the chat, live here on YouTube, or if you're joining us in the future on YouTube, Stitcher, or Apple Podcasts, however you receive us. Thank you for receiving us, I guess.
Yeah.
That's a good way to start. Thank you for receiving us. You should ask for consent and then also say thank you at the end and the beginning when they give the consent. So you're giving your consent for receiving us, and now thank you for receiving us. And thank you also to Mr. Justin Olampeno who's joining us tonight.
Yeah, man.
How you doing today, brother?
I'm good.
All right. And Lucy finally jumped out of the way.
Yes.
And she has jumped into her bed now.
Yeah.
So we can now see the beautiful face of Mr. Zachary. That was like almost a 5-stager. That was a pretty good one. Stormin'. Zachary, 5-stager, Stormin'. How's your day going so far, brother? You got a nice. You're one of the lucky people that can work sometimes.
Yep.
Yeah. Keeping busy, keeping working.
This week, the grass is starting to grow.
It's starting to grow. It needs to be cut. It's essential. We don't want to look like a bunch of schmucks here, you know? We want to have trimmed grass. People aren't stopping or starting to shave their pubes, whatever they're doing. People want to keep in habit, you know? If you usually get your lawn, if you got the money for it, you want your lawn, your business, you need the lawn taken care of, fuck yeah. It's essential. Yeah. I believe that's essential. I also believe it's essential to let everybody know that you have a very special episode in store for you tonight. We're going to be doing our Brunch Spring Guide to Music.
Yeah.
We did one back in the fall, so stay tuned till after our Brunch Weekly original single, and you can get to hear all this the music that we are choosing to listen to, whether it's this spring specifically or every spring kind of traditionally. But again, thank you everybody for joining us. Thank you to everybody over at Moucha.tv for getting this put together on the iTunes side of things. I don't really shout them out at the beginning that often. I feel like I should.
True.
They are a wonderful man. That's the way to say that. They are a wonderful man, because they are just Eric, and he's a wonderful human being. But tonight, guys, every night on this show, we like to drink beer, and we like to taste something weird, and we like to taste something normal. Right now, our normal, at one point, was our something weird.
Yeah.
This is, I think, the first time officially that a weird taste tester has become a regular beer. Although we did, I guess the Bud Ice made a quick return. But we got the Natural Light Natter Days, the strawberry lemonade. I remember we were all very, very concerned about this at first, and now this is my springtime staple. This is what I'm going for in the spring now.
Right.
I thoroughly enjoy it. It's light, it's refreshing, but it's not the beer that we're taste testing tonight. So, Justin, let's talk about drinking.
All right.
We drink it so you don't have to. Review it in the morning from the bathroom. Cheap booze and craft brews. Review it in the morning from the bathroom. Why do we drink it? Why do we drink it? Yeah!
Alrighty, there you go. That's us chugging some beer in quick motion, you know. All right, so tonight, Justin, you picked this one out.
I did.
Now, it is a Distill Brewery. You said it's from Illinois. It looks like from Normal, Illinois.
Yeah.
Or the slogan is just Normal, Illinois. And the name of the beverage is really awesome. It's Hawaii 5 Ale.
Yeah.
And it's a product, again, of Illinois. It's a blonde ale with pineapple, coconut, mango, peach, and guava. It's a fruity, juicy, tropical 6.4%. And it's got 13 IBUs.
What the fuck does Illinois know about Hawaii?
No
I don't
idea.
know. But you know what?
idea.
A lot of places in the Midwest like to take names or name things after places that are not the Midwest. Like, you know, Texas Roadhouse is from Indiana. You know, it's from India. We used to, James and I used to call it Indiana Roadhead. That was our nickname for it.
That's a good one. I like
Because
that.
I would have to give him Roadhead on the way there. And
Hey, I mean, if he's buying dinner,
he's
you're
buying
sucking
dinner.
dick.
It's not a hard decision to make. All right, so yeah, we are going to give this a try. Distill Brewery Hawaii 5 Ale. I don't like coconut. That's the one thing that I'm kind of holding often in my head.
You're
about
probably
this.
not going to like it just because of that fact, because it's very coconut.
Immediately don't smell coconut.
It's very much so the taste of coconut. It's not bad. I
All
like
right,
it.
There is, I would say coconut is the kind of, you know what, I don't hate it though. Everything else is kind of blending together pretty well.
Yeah.
I feel like I get the pineapple or the mango. I'm not really sure which one is in there more prominently. Definitely the guava, the peach and the guava also kind of like blend together. But the coconut...
I don't really taste...
It's bland, though.
It is. It is.
Like the...
Initial mouth taste flavor.
More bitter.
And then it goes
More
away.
bitter at
It
the
has
end
13 IBUs, man. It's up there. That is almost...
You know what, though?
6.4.
I don't even
feel like
know
I
who
could-
said 13 IBUs that brags about it.
I could chug.
Oh, these are definitely
yeah.
chuggable. I would say that if you were looking for something to consume, again, a perfect hot day spring beverage, it might be too much if you're drinking it in like the peak of July or August or something like that. Because again, it does have that bitterness. It is an ale, so it does have to have that sharpness on it.
Jeff says use it as a mixer for vodka and ice.
That literally would be
Yeah.
a good way to use this. This, a little bit of juice and some vodka. I feel like every time we get something fruity, we all just go, yeah, it's 6.5%. Let's add
Add
some
vodka.
liquor to it, and then we'll add some juice, and it'll just taste a little bit better. So what we're telling you is it sucks,
Yeah.
and that you shouldn't be consuming this beverage. But no, actually, again, even as a non-coconut fan, I am enjoying this. I'm probably going to drink the two that I set aside for me over here.
Maybe I'm broken, because I'm not getting a lot of flavor.
Yeah, it's a flavor in the mouth right off the bat for me, and
Yeah,
then it
and then
dissipates
it's just-
immediately.
I get the
Mostly-
guava on the back of my mouth, but
I get
I'm
more
not
coconut,
getting the
really.
coconut
I get
whatsoever.
the coconut, actually, after the first couple tastes, is kind of going away for me.
No,
I'm
it's
definitely
like
getting
fake
the guava,
coconut
and
flavor.
I'm
is
getting,
what
like,
it
on the tip, I'm
tastes
getting
like.
pineapple. You're getting... See, here's the thing with this one.
I
Distill
definitely am
Brewery,
getting mostly guava
Hawaii
and no
5 ale.
coconut.
Yeah.
You get whatever you want out of it. That's
True,
what it
that's
is.
it.
It's a magical
Pick which
fucking
fruit
beer.
you want
What
to,
fruit do you want? You look at it and go, I
mango,
don't want coconut.
okay.
Coconut
tastes mango.
disappears. You want
Yeah.
mango, it tastes like
And I
mango.
taste like the peach pit.
The peach pit, just
More
Yes.
so than the
Is that
meat
what-
Yeah,
of
yeah,
the
yeah.
peach. This tastes like you're just
sucking off a
like
pit.
you just like licked a peach pit and
Oh,
you're like
yeah.
mildly peachy, but mostly tastes like dirt.
Mostly dirt.
Over on the can.
It's mostly supposed to be in the ground and not in my stomach.
And I'm not talking shit because I like it.
Yeah. Yeah. enjoy it.
I think that they could
Initial taste and then it's gone. That's all I keep
they
getting.
could
over
do
and over
something
again.
different with this name
Yeah.
and this can.
Yep.
You know, if they were just like blonde ale with,
Yeah.
and then in small letters they put like a hint of whatever.
I feel like this is a beer that was named before it was made. They went, you want to make a beer called Hawaii 5 Ale?
And then it came,
Let's do it. And
they're
they're like,
like,
what do we put in it? Fruit.
Actually, the funny thing
It's
about
Hawaii.
it is, did you read the side of the can?
Yep.
No, I did
Support
not.
flavor, boycott bland.
no, this is bland. This is the.
You really need to have flavor. You can't be like Arrogant Bastard. The side of the Arrogant Bastard bottle is arrogant because it's a very in-your-face fucking
That's a
beer.
perfect
I'm going
name
to
for
assume
that
that it
beer.
is
It's a
a play
perfect
on
name for that beer.
Hawaii
This, I would not, if you handed me this and said, think of a state, I'd probably say Florida because it sounds
Yeah,
like it's going to be
yeah,
better
yeah.
than it is. Unless you're on a motorcycle, go to the Keys. That seems to be the only way to do Florida with that.
So only Florida I like to
That's the
see
only
on a
Florida you
motorcycle.
like. That is. All right, guys. Well, obviously, in the world these days, not much is seem to be happening. But there are news stories that are still coming out that are not Corona related. Some of them are. So I try to find the ones that are more on the lighter side and bring them to you in a little segment that we like to call "What's Happening." Get this stuck in your head. Hey, what's happening? Hey, what's happening in the world? What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? Hey, what's happening? Hey, what's happening in the world? What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? Hey, what's happening? Hey, what's happening in the world? What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? I just want to point out real quick that Jeff in the chat said guava on the back of my mouth, LOL. He's quoting you there. That was a great line. And then they're asking if it's definitely a play on the show Hawaii 5 like
for
100%.
Sure.
They're capitalizing on that sweet Scott Conn, which Con's the younger one, Scott Conn. They're profiting off his really profitable
Have you ever watched the
remake?
reboot?
That's what I'm talking about. Scott Conn's
that
in
this
it.
guy's name? I didn't know his name.
That's the white guy that was in it that they cast.
It's sort of okay.
I feel like CBS does serial dramas really, really well. I've watched Elementary and loved it. I love watching most CBS dramas. Like Blue Bloods, I've seen a couple of episodes. Sure. I get why people over 50 are like, this is good, it's intriguing, it's not totally run-of-the-mill, but it is pretty run-of-the-mill for nowadays. It's basically, do you miss Jag? Do you miss Jag?
I do.
Just watch CBS.
I do miss Jag.
I never watched Jag, and that show was on for fucking like 7 years. And
Dude,
I was like, how is this still on?
I can watch like NCIS, Hawaii 5-0. That is like, not that I do, but like I could sit through that and not be like, ugh, this is terrible. The way like,
definitely.
If you put on what else is on network TV?
I mean,
The Masked Singer.
Yeah, and any reality competition show, they're all kind of the same thing.
The Bachelor,
no matter how much they switch it up. Yeah, any of those reality shows is fucking like soul draining. I like the cooking shows. I do enjoy the cooking shows that they'll do on like
you watch
the big,
Triple D.
Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives. Yes, I do. I highly respect that man.
Yeah.
And then I also really like shows about like I'll watch like crafting shows for sure when they're just like, hey, this is how to make something really really fucking simple. And it's basically a YouTube video I'd watch.
Yeah.
I just have to watch it with some commercials or if you got Hulu Premium, no commercials. But yeah, no, I've not put a lot of time into Hawaii 5-0, and maybe I should give it a second chance, but I've not put a lot of time into it. I put a little bit of time into researching news about today. The first and probably the funniest thing that I found out, this is Corona related. The governor of Florida, who was, I think, the last governor to institute people, like, have a stay-at-home order. He's a very wild man. Governor of a very wild state. He's gone on the record. He's saying that the WWE is an essential business.
Yep. I heard
and
about
they
this.
will resume live shows, all right? Now, you both have probably more knowledge and fandom invested into wrestling on some degree.
I don't know shit about
Not
wrestling,
much?
really.
Okay. So then we're probably all on the same page.
We need Slacky. Is Slacky in chat?
If
here?
Slack is in chat, you chime in. If you know about wrestling, let me know the answer to this question, because this is immediately what I think. Isn't like 90% of the fun of a wrestling event the heel interacting with the crowd and the crowd booing and cheering for whoever they like or hate, the entrances, the entrance music, and then the little bit of drama on stage and the actual physical wrestling. Like, I feel like that's like a 20, maybe 25% of it. And then the rest of it is the atmosphere and, like, the intensity that is coming from that. I could watch a baseball game with no crowd, because who gives a fuck about the crowd in a baseball game? But a WWE performance, are you really going to watch that where they're just like, yeah, point to the camera, and I'm the bad guy, and you should hate me right now? There's no booing.
It's all about going. My brother has gone to wrestling.
I would totally go to wrestling the same way I would go to NASCAR.
I got to a wrestling match when I was young.
He doesn't like watch it.
I missed all of the Fernwood ones.
But he says, like, going to it, it's like, it's a good time.
Yeah, anybody in the chat chiming in on this? Anybody? WrestleMania had no crowd this year. Yeah, like that. They've been doing crowdless shows for about a month now. Okay, James was giving us some information.
Yeah, they have been doing.
Is it entertaining, though? I heard that they did it. It just seems like such a sad endeavor, because now what you were left with are... realistically, like, maybe if they're keeping just like the immediate staff intact, they've got commentators who are just like a bunch of old guys just talking about the wrestling event.
Right.
You've got the wrestlers who are just generally a bunch of old guys who are wrestling, and then you've just got some like hot chicks walking around doing stuff. I know they do that more at fights. They got the girl that like says what like round you're in and all of that.
Right.
But there's just like hot girls. So do they have the hot girls still because there's no crowd to like, like suck up to, or are they still having them? I don't get why you would still want to watch this show. Like, watch that performance. Is anybody?
Your microphone is touching the couch.
It is a little bit, yeah.
Every time you're talking like this,
talking and
shaking.
You hear him shaking. I'm talking with my hands. It was leaned down to the couch. Sorry about the tertiary noise there.
Kyle's just excited about wrestling.
Kyle excited about wrestling. Why is it happening?
Kyle excited about wrestling.
All right. Do you think so? Do either of you think that it is an essential business in any way?
No.
No.
You out of your mind?
I mean, they can. Why aren't they just doing fucking televised shit with nobody in the crowd? Isn't that what's happening already?
They were. That's what they were doing.
Well, that's what James was in the chat. He is saying that it's hilarious. He said to watch some on YouTube. It's hilarious. So I mean, I'm assuming it's going to be similar to like watching like a sitcom without a laugh track and realizing how unfunny it is. As far as I know,
I didn't hear about any event that was actually going on.
Well,
the governor of Florida said that. But...
yeah. Well, Saki's saying that everything was taped. They're going back to live shows. WrestleMania had its ups and downs, but was well produced for not having a crowd.
All right. So, Slacky, answer us this, and I know there's going to be a little bit of delay here. Was it entertaining to you as a fan? You are probably the biggest wrestling fan. I know you've been a wrestling fan since the fucking 80s, and you have stayed up on it throughout. So, I'm curious to find out from you after the wonderful lag here exactly how you enjoyed all of that. Now, in addition, if I can remember how to open my phone right now, in addition to
you gotta break it open.
I gotta break it open, right? another news, another wonderful piece of news. Poker player Chris Hanuchin, he made a bet. He made an actual bet that 100,000 people are going to die from coronavirus.
100,000.
He made a bet. He made he placed money on a bet. I don't think it's hit 100,000. I'm not 100% about that.
The world?
It just said 100,000 people. I think he's saying.
No, I think we hit that.
Yeah. Okay. So maybe he was saying in America, but in the article I read, it just said 100,000 people die from coronavirus. So I have two questions really for you to ask here. Is this in poor taste in your opinion? This is a bad bet to be making publicly. And B, would you take the over or under on 100,000 if it's just in the United States? If it was just in the United States, you think take the over or the under on it? And is it also very immoral, stupid, terrible thing?
Because I could take the over and then just fucking go to the grocery store and try and get it and cough on everyone.
So you could rig it.
I could rig it. I could actively try that. Or
if you
I
were
guess
one
I
of the
could take
shittiest
the under
people in the world,
and then
go around and start shooting people before they can die of coronavirus.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That sounds like a terrible idea.
What country I saw was doing that?
Philippines are shooting people in the street.
Yes.
Well, they're always shooting people in the street.
But are they considering that a death by coronavirus?
No. It's
that's what I was saying about one of those, like Chile. I think it was Chile. That if you died of coronavirus, they're counting as you were cured. You were cured of it or something.
Really?
Okay.
Because their logic was like,
it's not affecting you anymore.
Yeah, it's not affecting you anymore.
Yeah. Death
So
is
how
the
many
cure
people
for
have
everything.
coronavirus? Those people get taken out because, like, well, they can't. They had it, but they can't get it anymore, and they can't spread it.
All right, so worldwide, it's 125,910.
All right, so he's already won that bet if it's just a worldwide bet.
I wouldn't take a bet like that.
You wouldn't
Honestly,
take a bet like that?
I mean, nah.
How much money was it
morally.
for?
It didn't give out detail. It basically seemed like he bragged on Twitter about making the bet.
Yeah.
If it was like $27, I'd definitely do it.
Was it a friendly bet between him and?
No, I think it was
Buddy?
like a professional bet. Like the
at
article
Vegas?
basically set it up like in a world where you can bet on anything, like who will be the next pope and blah blah blah. You can sadly even bet on these types of things. And they went into brief details. It was one of those like you're on Apple News, you click the thing, and it gives you like 6 sentences, like tops, about the story. That's basically all I heard. And then it wasn't that interesting that I really wanted to dive more into it. I'd rather just hypothesize about it. That's about the level of interest I think that it really... I would not take that bet against him at all. And now knowing that it's over 100,000 in the world,
125,000.
he's already lost that.
Double down. Is it going to hit 200?
Did Slacky ever respond
Yes, he
about
did.
this?
He said, to be honest,
wrestling?
he said, to be honest, there were entertaining matches. The Undertaker AJ Styles match was amazing. They made Undertaker look great.
Alive?
Where he's looking horrible in the last few years.
All right. Okay. So it sounds
Also,
like a fan that wants to really like it will
he
still
said
enjoy it.
The 2 main events were horrible. Goldberg looked horrible, and the Brock
geez.
Lesnar Drew McIntyre match was okay, but expected more.
All right.
Keith said Lucy's dad is in the Philippines, and he said it's fake news.
It's fake news. All right, fake news from the Philippines. All right, well that's good. That would be terrifying news. I forgot that he was in the Philippines.
Yeah, I thought he just wanted to shoot all the drug dealers and the homosexuals.
Yeah,
Maybe.
they were saying basically if you were assumed to be, the rumor was if you were assumed to be potentially sick and out and about, they would shoot you. But that was just a way for them to take out the drug
that guy's
dealers.
Crazy.
He is fucking nuts. He's held up. This is also might be fake news.
What's his name? Duterte?
Can't remember how to pronounce it.
Something like
Ducart,
that.
something like that.
It's something with a D's and C's and D's.
It's that like it could be French, it could be Spanish, it could be just
it's all,
native. It's everything mixed when you're over there. And yeah. Could be that, but I heard a rumor that he was held up in a hotel with like 20 of his wives or something like that, and that's a great way to not spread coronavirus is having 20 wives. 20 wives, definitely good. All right, and then some really cool news that's happening that I actually was on the phone with my brother Keith earlier about this today. Right. Zach, if you've never seen That Thing You Do, and this is the second week in a row that I'm bringing it up, because this Friday, the band from the movie That Thing You Do, the people that played the instruments in the movie, they all had to learn actually how to play the songs so they could film them actually playing it.
Well, that's cool.
On Friday at 7 o'clock East Coast time, I think 4, so that makes it 4 o'clock on the Pacific, they are going to be doing a live stream. I believe they're doing a commentary of the movie itself, and then they're going to be doing a live, however they're pulling it off, live performance of some of the music. I'm assuming at least the title track, That Thing You Do, live on YouTube. It's going to be one of the coolest things in the world. If you like the movie That Thing You Do, if you like Tom Hanks, if you like Liv Tyler, Steve Zahn, anybody like that, and you've never seen that movie, go check that movie out. But also, this is going to be a really, really awesome event, and it's all in honor of Adam Schlesinger, who passed away.
Yeah.
Who wrote all the music for it, was in Fountains of Wayne. Also wrote for My Crazy Ex-Girlfriend and a bunch of other Broadway projects. I don't know if I said it last week, but he was working on a Broadway version of The Nanny when he died. Like the Fran Drescher Nanny. He was rewriting it, and I was like, that would... So he still has partners that he was working with, so hopefully they'll finish it, with what they had planned. But it was... I mean, right now, I mean, Broadway.
We should just do that, but
so
make a
far
Broadway
off.
Frasier.
Broadway Frasier. Oh, I mean, oh God, I'll be Frasier. I'll do it.
So you're
I'll definitely be Frasier. Are you gonna be the dad? Are you gonna be the dad, just sitting on a chair, then walking real slowly all the time? It's the easiest role to get, and you get all the best lines. He's like the best person in that entire thing.
Did you see they released new Dune stills?
No, from the movie.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So there's new Dune stills out there. I mean, it's not really showing too much, but
the armor is pretty wild. That
yeah.
What's his face? Oscar.
Timothy. Oh wait.
Timothy Oscar.
Timothy Chalamet is playing Paul.
Yes.
Right. But they do show him in armor too.
Oscar, whatever. Guy from fucking Star Wars.
Oh, Oscar Isaac.
Yeah.
Oscar Isaac.
You want to know how thrown off I was right there?
Yeah.
Because my head, I don't know why, I was just going, De La Renta? Oscar De La Renta?
Is that a baseball player?
He was a fighter back in the day. I don't know why that name.
Oscar De La Hoya.
Oscar De La Hoya. That's what I'm thinking. See, I'm glad I didn't have it right.
He was a boxer.
So Oscar De La Renta might be somebody. Who knows? But De La Hoya.
Maybe a kid I went to high school with.
Yeah, could be. Honestly, that could be what I'm thinking of, somebody I went to high school with. All right, well, guys, every week I like to go out into the world and search for a band to feature, and we try to get them from all over the place. Last week we had a guy from Sweden. We've had different bands from the UK, everywhere from England and Scotland. We've not had an Irish band yet. We got to get an Irish and a Welsh band to complete our superfecta of the UK. But we have had a lot of Australia and a lot of places all across the wonderful nation of America. And
have we had any from New Jersey?
New Jersey.
I believe we have had at least one or two from Jersey. We've had plenty Pennsylvania, a bunch of New York bands, a couple California bands, and today we are adding another California band, but this is our first band from San Diego. San Diego. All right, this band is called Death of an Astronaut. From what I can gather,
they are in chat right now. And
they
would love a Broadway Frasier.
Oh, they would love a Broadway Frasier.
Let's get it together.
So they
over Skype.
They have a single that I believe they are about to release, and it's called Jupiter. We're going to be premiering it here for the world. As they say, Death of an Astronaut is a feels rock duo from San Diego, California.
I like feels rock.
Yeah, their music is a little bit art rock, a little bit indie pop, and they call that feels rock.
Definitely digging the cover art.
Dude, the cover art is fucking sick. All right, so the song Jupiter is the second single from their upcoming album, set to be released later this year. You can find them on Instagram at Death of an Astronaut and listen to their songs on your favorite music streaming platforms. And Jupiter is streaming everywhere April 17th, so that's about 3 days from today. So that makes it Friday. You're going to be able to get that on Friday, April 17th. So without any further delay, if you like what you're hearing, they're in the chat, so chat along with them. Thank you so much, guys, for joining us. Hope everything's going well on the other side of the country. Here is Jupiter from Death of an Astronaut. We'll see you guys in a couple minutes.
Walk through the corridors, see the paintings on the wall, dance out of limbo, slipping out of innocence, you're sitting safe above, sailing in your rocket ship. It's getting dark out here, am I here alone? Is there a place in the universe where
guys, there you go.
I like that.
Was fucking beautiful.
I thought
awesome.
she sounded like an early Kelly Clarkson.
Yeah, man,
almost.
that fucking it's got so much to it. It's literally they're definitely the idea of calling it the feels rock. It does hit you right in the feels. It's got that nice vibe to it. This is definitely something I see you driving around in the summer with, like, you know, if you have the Jeep.
I'm a sucker for this kind of music.
And you're just literally just on repeat, or the whole album just like swerving left and right all over the fucking road.
This is a little
This
poppier,
is music to accidentally kill people to, is what I'm saying.
It's definitely good.
Yeah, it's fucking wonderful. Again, you can check that out. The single Jupiter from Death of an Astronaut, going to be dropping on April 17th, which I again believe is this Friday, at Death of an Astronaut on Instagram, and you can find them.
What a fucking name.
That is a fucking, I saw that, I think they liked something. Again, that's usually how it goes. I post something stupid, somebody likes something, and I go, hey, can we feature you?
Hey, it's me!
Yeah. And sometimes they're cool enough to actually let us feature them, and sometimes they're really fucking cool enough to come in the chat and being here. Thank you
thanks for letting us play
so fucking much. Again, beautiful song.
Has anyone
gladly feature more of your music as you release it?
Has anyone just ever emailed you back and said no?
I've had people that say, like, basically, like, send me a contract, or, like, send me, like, something that says you're not stealing the rights to my music, and I'm like, you know what's funny is most of these songs, since you've released them, we can't monetize half of these videos if we wanted to, because your copywritten music. Because of the 4 minutes a song, the whole rest of it, like, when we cut it up, it can be monetized. I'm like, we can't even try to make money off of it. I was looking at
don't try.
Yeah, you can't. I mean, we really don't try to make money.
Spend money.
We spend money on our wonderful endeavors. Okay, guys, so every week we like to get together and we like to write, record, mix, and master a brand new song in about 4 hours, or a little bit under 4 hours. They were like about 3 hours.
Today was back to almost a 3 hour.
Yeah, because we got started a little bit, between 5:30 and 6, somewhere around there. Now, if you are new to the show and you're not aware, again, written, recorded, mixed, and mastered in about 3 to 4 hours, and we are currently working on a pop punk album that is called Modes, the exploration of the exploitation of the modes of transportation of the American motorist, or how I learned to stop worrying and love the DMV.
Yeah.
It's only taken me 5 weeks, and I can pretty much almost do it without fucking up, except for fucking up the first word.
The modes.
Right. The modes. So what we are doing and why it's called Modes, we have been working through different modes of music. We have, there are 7 total, and the first, we just said fuck the first, because that's every song. Zach, maybe you can give it a little bit better description. But we are right now on mode number 6, I believe. Which is Aeolian, or Alien.
I think it's Aeolian.
Yeah. It's like a garlic Aeolian. Yeah, that's what we're doing.
So we're playing in C major. That means we're only hitting the white keys, no sharps or flats for all the songs. And this one is you're playing C major, but the tonality of it is A minor.
Right.
So this is the saddest.
This is
a very sad song.
Saddest of the songs. So with that, the reason that the cover art is a car, and the whole idea of it being about transportation, love the DMV, is that this is about my personal driving record. And I have, we've written about me having sex in a car, about me getting arrested in a car, about me just speeding in a car, and now I am writing a song about being in a jail cell after drinking and driving, which you shouldn't do. And that is probably the saddest. If we're looking at my career, it's probably the saddest, is sitting there just going, I'm going to have to make a really shitty phone call right about now to Papa Dukes and have him come and pick you up. Yeah, it's a rite of passage, unfortunately, in our town in Pennsylvania for you to get a Dewey. Some of us are lucky enough to have 2, and hopefully you don't have 3, because then, kablooey on that. I knew I'd get there. I knew I'd get to kablooey. You're fucked. You're in jail for fucking life. Although I know a guy with like 8 DUIs, and he literally just goes to jail for like 6 months, and then comes out and goes to work.
Dude, I was in my DUI class.
He's fucking nuts.
One of the dudes in the class with me Just never had a license.
Never.
And he got popped for smoking crack and driving or something like that.
Jesus.
I was just like,
well, they say never having a license and getting a DUI is better than having a license and getting a DUI because they can't actually take anything away from you there. And
this guy didn't stop driving. He was driving to the things. My license is suspended. He's like, well, they can't suspend my license if I don't have one.
Exactly.
I was like, yeah, you got popped for smoking crack while driving, dude. You're wild, man.
So this song lyrically is going to be about basically the lowest point, the moment of self-hatred when, if you've ever been in that situation, you probably know it, where you're just like, motherfucker, I know I'm dumb. I know I did something stupid. I'm about to get caught. And I really wish you'd just take my word for it that I'm good and just let me drive home. But it's not going to happen because they need to make a quota every month. Even if they say they don't. They do.
Quota.
Meet it and make it.
What?
Now, for the drums of it, Justin, originally we had planned for this to be no drums whatsoever for like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
And the last, but then you kind of went in and started throwing things down. What did you add to this on the drums? What was your approach?
I was more following Zach's lead. There were things that he wanted and styles in certain spots. So it was just like going off that. But I think we originally started where I threw headphones on and just started playing.
Yeah.
And the back part, the back portion of it really didn't go to a click or anything.
The heavy part on, and he just rocked out to it for a while.
So we just sort of played that and then went from there. Like we had that as a basis.
We went backwards.
Yeah.
And like your vocals will often record whatever the softest parts is first.
Yeah.
As to save your voice.
Yeah.
But on the drums, we recorded the heaviest parts
and then went
first
back from
to
that.
sort of warm up.
Yeah.
To be able to finesse the softer parts a little more.
Now we are going for, again, the pop punk feel. This is definitely the furthest removed from generic regular pop punk.
Sure.
But while you were finishing the song, Jess and I were down here. We're like, this is a weird song for pop punk. And I was like, the vocals kind of do their job and pull it in. But what this reminds me of, and I think if we're trying to get all aspects of pop punk or as many different feelings,
right?
This kind of reminds me of the fourth album from a band you used to like, where you're like, guys, can you just go back to doing what you really like doing? Like you built up to it, and realistically, the band's probably getting better as musicians.
Sure,
they're getting better as writers. They're writing about real things, so it's a little bit more somber. And you're just like, I don't want you to wake me up when September ends. I want you to dookie all over me. Stop waking me up when September dookie, you know? And so I feel like this kind of has that feel to it. But with that being said, where it got to from the whole scope of it, from the idea, like right off the bat, I played I think Landing Feet First by Bayside. I was like, ooh, kind of like this feel.
Yeah.
And we listened to that a little, and this sounds nothing like that. We were trying to do, again, half the song more just broken down into guitar, bass, and vocals. The other half of the song drums. We kind of went against that. So in the true spirit of it, we said fuck ourselves and made it fucking punk rock. And even though it's not really super, super punk rock. But again, I feel like it's one of those either the last two tracks on an album from a band where they just have to get dramatic for a moment,
right,
or it is album 4 or 5 of a band that should have given up after album 3. What we called the song
Never Again.
Never Again. Lyrically, it kind of goes into that. It's that feeling of just like, fuck me, why am I an idiot? That's basically the feeling of the song. So without any further delay, let's jump right into Never Again, our second to last off of the Modes ... Love the DMV pop punk album. I've been Modes ... Love the DMV on like everything because I don't want to type it. And then today I realized that my text prompt has learned the title of the album, so it literally goes.
Nice.
If I type Modes : it goes the exploration of the exploit. Like literally can just follow it, and I need to just throw in like once in a while or the, and it knows where I'm going. All right, guys.
He says, "Stop waking me up when September ends and dookie all over me." Words to live by.
Yes, exactly. They are. All right, guys. I hope all of you are going to want to dookie all over us after this song. We'll see you guys in 3 minutes?
Way.
3 minutes? What did we wind up on this one?
4-ish.
4-ish.
Yeah. Sure.
All right. So.
No, 3:58.
3:58.
Oh,
that's pretty
that's
4-ish.
Yeah, 4-ish.
You can only be two different numbers without one really without being 4. All right. So here is Never Again. We'll see you guys in 4-ish minutes.
Yeah.
Don't go making the same mistakes. Don't go making the same mistakes. Take me at my word, I beg you. No need to prove I've done wrong. I've been down this road before. I know my rights and they're gone. Close to reaching my exit, just short of making it home. My breath, my eyes all scream the truth. Wallow in shame all alone. Easy to say, never again. Just fell. Easy to say, never again. When you're still in this hell. Don't go making the same mistakes. Don't go breaking the promise again. Let me hear myself fading. Leave me to dwell on myself. What's more, I'm here at these crossroads. Make the promise again. Easy to say, never again. Where you just fell. Easy to say, never again. When you're still in this
All right, guys, there you have it again. That is Never Again, our Brunch Weekly original single off of our pop punk album, Modes, the Expert, blah, 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 love the DMV. I said it all, you just couldn't hear me. I said it really, really low.
Just go back,
Super
slow
fast.
it down.
Slow it down. If you don't hear it, then you can always send your complaints to 123 Justin Sucks PA.
Yep.
That's the address somewhere in the middle of the state. It's just a pile of nothing yet. But one day, hopefully, a pile of angry hate mail. Angry hate mail. Can't wait. Again, you can check out on our channel, Houseboat Tommy Lee Jones, all of the Brunch Weekly original singles from the past. We're getting a couple more up there from season 2 as over the next couple of days and everything. And again, you can check out our other albums. We did a math rock album before this. We did Rubbish, the Garbage Man epic, which is a rock opera style epic about a fantasy world that a garbage man travels to.
What do you name on our last death metal thing?
The Fall?
Yeah.
The Fall, we didn't give it a name, and I was looking through that thing, and we didn't really, so I kind of just treated it as more like it was death metal pop, so I just kind of left it. I was making playlists the other day and organizing everything, so like all of these songs are going in the proper playlist, and you can find them a little bit easier on the channel.
Thank you so much.
And you're welcome. And
thank you.
You're thanking me, right?
No.
I mean, you're thanking
chat.
Death of an Astronaut. That song was fire. Thank you, guys. But yeah, again, you can check out all the past songs, all of our different albums that we've done. I did organize Christmas 1 and Christmas 2 together.
And you can bet your ass next year.
Christmas 3.
Christmas 3.
Christmas 3 is going to happen. Right. You know why?
Yeah.
Because Corona can't stop Christmas.
Yeah,
can't stop that spirit we got living inside of us, to write weird fucking songs and cover hymns. That's what I listened to We Three Kings.
It's such a weird song.
For the first time the other day.
I couldn't.
I put it on. I put on the playlist to like pick songs to play because I've been doing a live trivia night on Facebook called Trivia Live Live Trivia with Kyle Moucha.
Which is going well.
It's going really well. Yeah, it's going pretty good. I mean, it is.
Join Kyle in trivia.
Yeah, just find Kyle Moucha, the way it's spelled here, on my Facebook page if you are not aware, and I'm doing live trivia. But yeah, it's going well. We had over 20 people for the one stream, solidly, and at the end of it, I looked and there was 155 views on the video.
How did the family? How did
the family one's going really awesome. So it's different for me because I have to.
Is your family playing?
My family, most of my nephews and nieces are playing. I have a bunch of friends that I've worked with in the past that are basically thank you so much because now I've got just something to do and my kids have something to look forward to.
And they can go back to anything they have missed.
Yeah, if you've missed it, you can go back on the page, on my personal page or the live trivia with Kyle Moucha page, and you can find all the videos and play with your kids or your friends however you want to. Because I got to tell you, some of the adults did not get a lot of the Animal Kingdom questions right when I did an Animal Kingdom. But so far I've done Animal Kingdom.
The kids know the animals better.
Yeah. Oh, God, because you're fresh. Kids and Steve Warner know animals better.
Steve Warner is...
he's an animal.
He is the world's oldest child.
He's an animal
with
himself.
A child.
Yes, with a child. Poor Meg. Poor Meg.
Dude, that text, did you get that in the group chat the other day?
Yep.
He said, Stevie just sat in a 6-inch deep mud puddle.
Yep.
That's his, if you don't know, that's Steve's
daughter.
How old is she now?
2? Almost.
This September will be 2.
September?
September 11th, remember?
Yeah. Never forget.
Never forget it, yeah. Never forget when Stevie was born around.
But when he said that, I was just like, Steve, it reminded me of a story when when he worked with us, we had a task for the day to go around to local tire places and get all the used tires we could because we were building a go-kart track.
Oh,
and they
nice.
wanted tires around the outside so they didn't kill themselves.
Yeah, makes sense. Right. Makes sense.
And so we were at some place in East Stroudsburg. We just showed up at some tire place. We're like, y'all got any old tires we can have? And they actually even paid us to take the tires.
Damn.
But they were in just a pile. A pile of shitty old tires.
Yeah, outside.
Yeah.
Well, I think they do have to pay. I think for a removal of tire, they have to pay.
They were happy to pay us half what they pay the real tire people to remove them.
Nice.
And we were happy to take the money.
Yep.
But anyway, there was... a lot of the tires were full of water. You know how they...
Yeah. I've had a tire swing.
You guys know how a fucking tire not in a rim gets full of water.
It can retain water.
And
it's like a tube.
We're tossing tires into the trailer and trying to make them line up nice to get the most tires.
Yeah.
And Steve grabs this fucking tire like this and just chucks it back over his head into the trailer. But it's full of water.
Oh.
And he gets covered from fucking head to toe in nasty tire
that's definitely a father, daughter situation for the two of them.
And I'm watching him, I'm just like, You are a fucking idiot.
Yep.
Do you know that?
Yep.
Jeff wants to know if it's
incredible.
an old track on 611.
No, this is a private property track.
Gotcha.
Private property track.
This is some Canadiense shit.
Candy Dancy.
Yeah.
They do what they
This
please.
is some backwards. This is
yeah.
some really,
Backwoods stuff.
some really
You know what I'm
fancy
saying?
backwoods shit.
Oh, hell yeah,
You know
it
what
is.
I'm saying?
All right, so like we were alluding to earlier, we were talking back in the fall. We picked our the brunch, like the definitive guide
Yes.
to fall music. I think is what I was calling it from Brunch, because if you're listening to any music right now during the spring, it should be off of the Brunch Definitive Spring playlist.
Yes.
You should not be listening to music other than that.
Right.
As we said with
Right.
the fall, we're very pompous about this.
Right.
So what I've done is I've asked the two of you to think of a couple. I think we did about three last time, so that's what I prepared.
Yeah.
3 albums that are your go-to albums, whether it's this year or every year, your go-to albums when spring hits. And the way I'm going to do it is I'm going to go with number 3, then 2, then 1. I'm going to build up.
Yeah, let's
I'm gonna
do
build
that.
up.
That's a
so
good idea.
if you'd like, I will start first, and because we've already kind of thrown their name out there a couple of times and their albums a couple of times. My go-to, number 3, one of my go-tos for about the last 20 years, about like 18, 20 years, something like that, has been Green Day's International Super Hits. Not an individual album. I love Dookie, I love Nimrod, I love everything, but the International Super Hits, because it
got everything
it has
you want.
everything you love.
True.
It's got JAR, it's got songs that aren't released on full albums, and then it has like the 1 or 2 songs from like Shenanigans and like other late 90s that you forget about, Nimrod releases. And it's great, but it also acts as a wonderful time capsule for what Green Day was in the year 2001, 2002, before the 2004 release of American Idiot. And that is when you get the Wake Me Up When September Ends and Boulevard of Broken Dreams. And I remember that came out in the first single dropped the end of August 2004. I had moved to Los Angeles like a week after it was released. So everywhere I went in LA was this terrible, terrible song by Green Day. And at the same time on the radio waves, you had Modest Mouse hitting it big with Good News.
Yeah.
And I loved Good News.
I love the Good News.
And my roommate and I remember one time we were driving and they were like, oh, the new single from Green Day, and we had not heard it yet. And we're like, oh shit, and like he's a child of like the 80s that went to college like in the 90s. He respects Green Day and everything, so we both crank it up, and it's Wake Me Up When September Ends, or one of those songs, and we're just like, no, don't need this song right now, and immediately turned it off and started probably listening to Modest Mouse. Or for him, he really liked Porcelain by Thursday. That was like one of his go-to albums. The first, I believe it's Porcelain, maybe not Thursday. Porcelain by, I think I'm switching up bands right now. Porcelain is by Sparta.
Okay.
But the first Thursday album was the first.
Yeah,
Thursday.
I'm Marshall, the guy. I know
The
shit.
first
about
Thursday
Sparta.
album?
Yeah.
Is Waiting.
Yeah.
Waiting. There you go. That was, I switched that up in my head. But yeah. So he was all about them. So when Green Day released that album, it was kind of like the end. It was the official end of Green Day for me. And then they went and wrote a really shitty Broadway play about it. And then they've just never returned to who they were.
They're
at
back
that
on
point.
the radio now, though.
They are.
With new shit, and I hear it, I'm like, what the fuck is this? And then I hear like a certain vocal note, I'm like, oh,
that's Billy Joel.
Oh, that's Billy Joel.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this must be the new Green Day.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't sound like the old Green Day, and it doesn't sound like middle.
Yeah.
Like middle era, there's
the post Black Parade Green Day when they were trying to ride on the
but
coattails
there's
of
like a
fucking
couple
everything
albums
happening in the
after,
scene.
I
Uno
know,
Dos Tres was one.
Yeah, and that I don't know.
Yeah.
But the newer stuff is way like they sort of have done what a lot of bands have done and done a more modern
take
pop
on
music.
Yeah.
You know, not as far as say like
Panic at the Disco.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
No, they're still retaining
But
their edge.
I can't lie to you.
Catchy.
I love that new Panic at the Disco shit.
The new
that,
it's just
gotta have high hope. Dude, that shit as
if it
poppy,
wasn't called Panic at the Disco and it was just called something else, you'd be like, yeah, it's a catchy song. But I think there's a stigmatism with that name attached to it.
To me, Panic at the Disco will always be that first. Yeah. That first album is.
Yeah. If you were into it,
it's
that was
infallible,
the time to get into it.
even though it is
When that
completely
came out.
chock full of wrong things.
Yeah.
It is so good.
Yeah. But yeah, so I would say that International Super Hits is my number 3 go-to because again, you get everything you want from Green Day, and you can just can just ignore the last 20 years, which is what I found out what most old people do. So I'm all right with being an old person there. Justin, what is your number 3?
My number 3 is "Turn the Radio Off" by Real Big Fish.
Ooh, so what are the? Do you remember what the singles off of that one were? Does that have beer?
That has beer on it. It has Snoop Doggy Dogg.
Snoop Doggy Dogg, such a good fucking song.
Sellouts on it.
Sellout, it might be like beer is probably like one of their more like renowned songs. And just by typing the word beer into Kazaa, thousands of people probably found it.
Oh yeah.
For sure.
But they definitely, I think Sellout was like ironically kind of like their best,
I think that
biggest
was their
hit.
first hit,
yeah.
too.
And then they went and did Basketball, so the whole Basketball soundtrack
that
is
helped
beautiful.
them big time.
For sure. I definitely think, is there one song that you think gets like not enough respect off that album, or do you like the...
Yeah, what is it? What's the fucking satanic one? Scott Tannic?
Scott Tannic, yeah, Scott Tannic, Scott Tannic.
That's such a great song,
yeah.
dude. I mean, that whole album's fun and really a summery or springy feel. Like, it's up moving, like it's really shittily done lyrics, or not lyrics, but I mean, the lyrics are very shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Whatever. Like, it's, I mean, it's like they're depressing fucking lyrics. It's about breakups and other shit, you know what I mean? But then you're coming into all of this fucking happy.
Well, I think that's what
fucking music.
think I like most about like most pop music in that high fidelity way. Like I love the poppy catchiness juxtaposed to the sad, depressing lyrics, and ska does that probably better than most any genre relentlessly. But I think that's why I think during the springtime you all kind of gravitate towards a more upbeat song despite what the lyrics are, for sure. Zach, what would you say is your numero tres?
I spent a lot of today thinking about this. And me personally, while I have very strong opinions on fall albums, like ones I go back to that are very old albums. Springtime for me has
it's rebirth, so it's new music.
So I'm going to say a little bit of that. It's a bunch of new music.
Yeah.
But a lot of the new music comes out at the end of spring, beginning of
Get ready for that hot song of the summer.
You know, that new Justin Bieber.
Yeah.
That new whatever pop artist that
Ariana's dropping at the end of May.
There's going to be one
They want to be the party song all summer
and the rest
long.
of the album doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. So I threw that...
That's the LMFAO format.
I threw that out because I didn't want to just be like, well, just go listen to whatever the new pop single is.
Yeah, okay.
Because
respectable.
That's the new... That's the thing I'm doing in spring. I'm searching. I'm doing deep dives.
Yeah.
Finding new, interesting shit. But it's not always an album. It's not always something I'm going to go back to.
Right.
So this is what I've really thought hard on what I go back to in spring. And for my third pick, I'm not even going to say an album. I'm just going to say go on Spotify or Pandora, if you still use Pandora, or find the iTunes essential list of Leftover Crack, Choking Victim.
All right.
That plays in with the other two punk albums that we already said.
Oh, for sure.
I feel like
spring...
Definitely more on the legit gutter punk side of things
it's just...
You get more scene credit there, scene points are off the charts.
Just put Leftover Crack into playlist generator and just listen to whatever comes out.
Because that is a lot of the way that you listen to music when you're like on the go and everything. It's like, I mean, you listen to podcasts and stuff like that, and radio shows. But when you listen to music, you'll listen to an album straight through. But then you'll just kind of branch off from an artist that you're just
I'm a big fan of whether it's on YouTube or I use Apple Music.
Just hit the radio button.
Yeah.
Well, no, but just like related. You know what I mean? Usually when you scroll to the bottom of anything, it's like other things that are similar to this. Just put Leftover Crack into whatever you use.
And when
you can hear a whole myriad of bands.
Yeah, 4 songs later, you'll be on Voodoo Glow Skulls, and it'll work
just but
exactly.
It's just as well for spring.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Dude, I love Leftover. If you don't... It's not for everybody.
It's not, but Zach loves Leftover Crack.
If you like punk...
There's nothing better than
and
Leftover
you don't
Crack.
like... If you don't like pop punk that much, but you like punk...
If you're a Jeff Rosenstock fan and you don't know Leftover Crack...
That's a good choice.
See, James O threw a cover of 59 Sound by Jeff Rosenstock at me on Facebook yesterday or today. I believe it was yesterday. And
Jeff Rosenstock has bombed the music industry.
And I was like, I listened to it, and it definitely was closer to me liking something from them, but I just never really was a big Bomb the Music or Jeff fan on his own.
I was a huge Bomb fan.
I loved his performance live. His performance live was like, I didn't like it right off the bat. And
you saw him as
Jeff Rosenstock
with the full band,
and Friends and stuff like that.
So I saw Bomb the Music Industry at a show where only Jeff showed up.
Oh,
that was before he had he was just calling it solo.
Yeah.
Like this was
that was right before he went.
This was like 2009
anyway.
when it was like not like it was in Philly the show and they're a New York band, so no one showed up. Just him and an iPod showed up.
Yeah.
That's fucking.
But it
ridiculous.
Didn't matter because we all knew the fucking words anyway.
See, I knew who he was through Keith and other like younger friends that really got into him, and every single time I'm gonna say solidly for about 5 years. I have a habit of hearing music, recognizing the music, and then immediately forgetting everything that you just told me about that band repeatedly. It dates back to when I was like a younger kid, and my buddy Chuck would play Fear Before the March of Flames, and every week I'd be like, oh, this isn't bad. Who is this? And he'd be like, Kyle, it's literally the song you asked me who this was a week ago. And for Keith, it just became, I feel like, a joke, at least for me. But with him, it was like I would just go, I don't like the song. Is this Bomb the Music Industry? And he'd be like, yes, it's Bomb the Music Industry. I'm like, yep. I just immediately didn't. I don't know what it was about his voice and his style. I felt like it was like a rip-off of Adam in My Package, just like a little bit more crack thrown into there.
It is a lot. It is very similar because when I was really into Bomb, I also really loved Adam in His Package. Bomb the Music Industry was like the New York version.
Yep.
Where Adam His Package was a Philly version.
Yeah, Adam His Package was one of the more enjoyable things for me back then. And I could even throw him on an honorary list, I would say, for things to listen to in fall. Punk Rock Academy is one of my favorite songs, like hands down. Sorry, in the spring. We're in spring right now.
Yeah.
I'm falling behind. Or ahead. Who knows?
Punk Rock Academy, dude, that,
I had a dream when I was in high school.
I love it.
Yeah, it was fucking beautiful. And he would play like all himself, everything. All right, so my number 2 album, this might be a shock to some that it's number 2, but it won't be a shock to many that is on the list. Has to be, and you just said, say a band, and I could kind of do this for this band, but not really. Specifically one album, Your Favorite Weapon by Brand New is hands down.
Microphone down.
Microphone down and hands down. It is one of the greatest pop punk albums, mainly for me because what they did after the fact, they weren't a pop punk band so much anymore. They definitely were a pop punk band for their first album. They moved on to the second album, and the second album had that more mid-2000s emo feel. And then they just got weird and experimental and strange, and you get fucking Daisy, you get science fiction, and my favorite of all of their albums is definitely The Devil and God Are Raging Inside of Me.
Right.
But Your Favorite Weapon, there are just certain riffs on that album that I can never get away from.
Keith marked that as one of his top three spring
definitely albums. It's oh my god, it should be. He also said Bomb is rad as fuck.
Yeah.
So we're in agreement and disagreement. I'll give it to them, and I understand how much everybody appreciates Bomb, the music industry, and all of that, but for me, and Brand New, which I know for so many people, when that album came out, there were so many people that loved that album. When their second album came out, they're like, what the fuck's going on with this band?
Yeah, I'm the opposite.
I don't
like that album.
You like everything towards the end more, And as you go
Daisy,
back inside,
Daisy.
yeah, you like science fiction, then Daisy, then Devil, then Deja, then your favorite weapon.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
Feel like.
Yeah,
like you like
I'm
that
exactly
order,
that
for sure. And if they were to ever get back together and release a new album, you'd probably like that one better than
yeah. Well,
the other
I
ones.
saw them on the science fiction tour.
Yep, I saw
And
that
science
tour as well.
fiction
Yeah.
is hands down the.
Yeah, I love that album. I do love that album.
It was a really great performance to see them do most of that album live, and it was a great album. I have it on vinyl. I've listened to it a handful of times, but
that is definitely a fall album.
That's a
definitely
fall
a fall album for sure. But yeah, your favorite weapon, I think everything from the last song being Soko Amaretto Lime being like hands down my favorite fucking like campfire song. Like you're just sitting around with a bunch of your friends and everything. That is one of the greatest songs ever. And then songs like Failure by Design and obviously Jude Law and A Semester Abroad was like the big hit off of that album. If you don't know it, go check it out. Go check out their entire discography and see for yourself which way you like them better, beginning to end to beginning, or just one or two of their albums. Justin, what it would be your number 2?
I actually had a couple tie. I couldn't really narrow down.
All right, fair.
So one is Promotional Copy by Reggie and the Full Effect. The second is
that ties right in with Adam.
Yeah.
Yep.
And Bomb.
And I would say that I liked Reggie more than the other two. He was just more polished. He was also off the Get Up Kids, and I had to give him respect for that.
The other is NoFX, and it is So Long and Thanks for All the Shoes.
Okay, all right. What year did So Long come out?
The 98, 99, something like that.
Hell yeah.
And then the last one is Queens of the Stone Age, Songs for the Deaf.
All right, so you got a 3-way tie there.
Yes.
How much? Okay, I want to go to just real quick. Promotional copies like 02, 03, somewhere in there. Right? Or is that the earlier
No, because
one?
their first album was Greatest Hits of 1986 to 1989.
Yeah. That's which one has
But that came out in the 90s.
Yes, that came out like 97, I want to say.
I thought that was more like 99 or something like that.
No, promotional copy was 2000. 99 was Greatest Hits,
okay,
1984, 1997.
Yeah. So he, probably the best name ever for your first album is The Greatest
Yes.
Hits.
Of a time when the band didn't even exist.
Yeah, when they
exactly.
didn't exist at all. But to go back to what was your second choice? Your middle choice?
NoFX was
NoFX 98. So around there. How much for me specifically your favorite weapon and the other options I have are albums that hit me at a time where I was like just kind of coming into my own, and like spring was always again everything's getting warm again, you feel a little bit healthier, a little bit better, a little bit more full of life. And I harken back to when I was 13, 14, 15, 16, and, the whole world, is your oyster type of mentality.
Sure.
Do you go back to certain albums because of certain times in your life?
For
when they hit you and they just, like, really rock solid for you?
Yeah, specifically, like, that's why I had so many. You know what I mean? I could have done a top 5, but fuck it. Or a top 6, whatever, however, 6, yeah.
Hell yeah. Now, Zach, what's your numero 2?
So I didn't even think about this until I was talking to my brother today at work about my number 1 pick.
Okay.
And we were listening to a song from that album. He's like, oh, this sounds like a song from that album. I was like, oh, that's a great spring album. 1975.
Who?
I don't know how to say his name right. It's either LeBay or Labai Sifri.
I do not know this guy.
You've heard it. I've played it for you. The album is Remember My Song, 1975.
Okay.
He is a gay, black, British piano player.
Jeez.
And this album is, from start to finish, incredible. Happy. There's upbeat moments. There's sad moments. It's such a good spring album. But you would know it. The first song on the album, I Got the ... which is I Got the Blues, was sampled into 5 well-known hip-hop songs, including My Name Is by Eminem.
Yeah. It's so good. That shit is so good.
Really?
The actual song, if you've never listened to it.
No, I
don't.
It's so good.
Streets is Watching by Jay-Z.
Okay.
Is the beginning, and the end is the Eminem song. but a bunch of his songs have been sampled into famous hip hop songs.
Hell yeah.
But this hit me. This is back when Spencer was at Bloomsburg, and I went to visit him, and it was right at the beginning of spring. It was still cool out, and we may or may not have partaked in some psychedelic activities.
May or may not have, at least 7 years ago. Who knows?
And we were just going through listening to music we never heard on YouTube, and that Labai Sifri song, and the first 2 minutes where I'm like, I know, I like,
you know it.
This sounds familiar. And then when it drops into the part that was sampled for "My Name Is" by Eminem, which being 90s kids, like,
oh hell,
you know what I mean? That's like ingrained in your DNA.
I feel like it's got to be the same feeling as like you discover Herb Alpert in the Tijuana Brass and you go, oh, Austin Powers. Austin Powers.
So this was like, dude, what? We just stumbled across where this shit came from, and no one else knows.
Yeah,
unless you're, an
old head.
You're getting older, and I've had a lot of time to dig deep into music.
Yeah, exactly. But kids your age had no idea.
Oh, but when we hit on that, like, I remember.
Did you find it in the springtime?
Yes, it was very early spring, end of winter. It was still cold. We spent a bunch of time outside. It was still sweater weather.
Okay.
So it's still sweater weather now.
Weather.
In the morning it's so cold.
Well, I brought a flannel, a sweater, and a jacket, not knowing what the fuck is going to happen.
But this album, there is
Seriously.
Listen to The Vulture.
Okay.
There's a line in it's just such a gangster line in the song. He says, "I tell a bitch what you want to hear. I'm an evil man."
Damn.
The song is about being a vulture and looking and preying on a girl who has just been dumped or just left her man, and being like, and then when you think about it, like, this dude's actually gay. So
what is this song about?
But he was able to write, like, not knowing that the first time I heard it, like a song that I was just like, I totally fucking get what you're saying right now.
Well, all you gotta do, I mean, back then, so many people that were gay and weren't out, you just changed the pronoun. And who knows?
He made his career harder on himself, and probably why he's not heard of a lot now is from the start. He was just, when it was not okay,
he was just cool with himself.
Just like, yeah, I'm English and I'm black and I'm gay.
Yeah.
And we're making...
And for Americans, that's 3 strikes against you at that time.
We're making jams out here.
Fuck yeah.
And I feel like in 75, a lot of people weren't okay with that.
Hell yeah. Yeah, no, but it was definitely not as open-minded.
It's L-A-B-I.
L-A-B-I?
S-I-F-F-R-E?
All right.
Something like that. But I got...
It's really rad.
Every song is good. There's a song called... Sadie, which I believe is about Charles Manson.
Okay.
Which is, about Sadie and the devil. Which Sadie was one of the Manson girls. There was Sexy Sadie, too, by the Beatles. But there is just... The whole album is full of awesome dance moments.
So is that something you put on when you're like, it's starting to get nice out, I need to throw this on?
Yeah, I feel like... And that's like, we all picked a lot of punk too. Yeah. It's like in the fall, everything is dying, especially because I work in the
landscape industry
business. In the fall, we're just cutting dead shit out, and
in the spring you're planting stuff again.
We're actually killing. We're pruning shit heavy in the fall.
Yeah.
In the winter, things are dead.
Yeah.
I want some brutal death metal that is just morbid, and in the spring things
really
come back to life.
I
want to fucking dance. I want to be happy.
Hell yeah!
I want to explore
If I knew more about Redbone, I would probably put Redbone on this list because like just that like happy dancey. Mm-hmm. Honestly, you could probably put the entire Guardians of the Galaxy soundtrack 1 and 2 on a list for springtime. It's fucking awesome
great.
Like that.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
All right, so my number one, and it's been my number one in the fall. In the spring. In the fall. It's actually my number one a lot of the time. But definitely in the spring. My number one go-to album has been, I think the album came out like around 2002, 2003, is Homegrown Kings of Pop. Homegrown was off of the record label Drive Thru Records that was huge in the late 90s and early 2000s. You had bands like Early November come off of there. Newfound Glory was off of there. And the label actually originally formed because the brother and sister who created it thought it was ridiculous that Jimmy Eat World wasn't signed to a record label. So they started a record label just to sign Jimmy Eat World. And by the time they got that, they went and signed their major. By the time they made their record label, Jimmy Eat World had signed to a major label. So then they just went out and they found every pop punk artist that they could find that was worth something. A lot of bands out of Jersey, a lot of bands out of Southern California, and Homegrown was the most Southern California pop punk band you could find. They had a great song on one of their earlier releases that was called Surfer Girl, that every single guy I knew that played guitar in high school was trying to learn that song.
I don't know this.
It is.
I've never heard of it.
The song itself or the band itself? Both. Okay. So Surfer Girl is just like a fun, kind of almost Island in the Sun feel, like that, like a lot on the upbeats, but then it just gets real heavy and real aggressive. And it's just about falling in love with a girl with giant boobs that was surfing one day. It's just like I fell in love with a girl at the beach because she had giant tits.
With that.
And she was gorgeous, and then just one day she was gone. But Kings of Pop has some of my... It's
what an audacious name.
Oh, well, it's great. And the album cover is a dude, looks like a 15-year-old kid going like, ah, with his teeth, and he's got a grill, and the grill says Kings of Pop on it.
What year is this?
Around like 2002, 2003, maybe 04.
Was this competing with Punk Goes Pop type thing?
Nope. This is just them. It's a 100% original album.
Okay, so it's a full album. It's
full album.
Okay.
They have songs. Probably my favorite song on it. They have a song called "You're Not Alone," a song called "Second Best," and "Second Best" was definitely like one of those. It's about like I'm tired of being the friend that's just waiting type of thing, like. Or like you have, maybe that wasn't what they were trying to say, but for me at that point in my pathetic life, that's what I was taking from it. But the idea of like, I don't want to be second best, I've waited too long. Then the rest of the line is like, I just want 1 second chance to be your first again. So like lyrically, it's a very just like emo sounding lyrics, but it's just like, I didn't want to be second best, and just like, drums all over the place, like a phenomenal fucking band. But Not Alone, You're Not Alone is probably one of the best songs off of there. But they have a song called Kiss Me and Diss Me, and it was definitely right for the time in both the lyrics that they were using and also the sound, because it was riding high off of the wave of bands like Goldfinger and Green Day being really popular, and then all of Tony Hawk happening, right. And then Blink-182 getting really, really big. And these guys were kind of the opening band for so many of those bands for about 5 years. And they just never broke through. They never became anything bigger. So if you're looking for cheesy, fun, stupid, fast pop punk, check out anything by Homegrown, but specifically Kings of Pop. I definitely recommend that album. Oh. All right, Justin, on to you. What is your number one?
Jamiroquai. Traveling Without Moving.
All right.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
such a great album.
What are the singles off of that album?
Virtual Insanity is the big one. I don't actually remember all the others. What were the other singles off of that?
Space Cowboys, the album before that.
Yeah, I mean, Virtual Insanity is the big one.
You can
I don't
put the
know.
Album on.
Just
I don't
listen
know the
to the whole
names
album.
of any of the songs, but I could probably hum you the melodies once they hit.
Now, when did you get first introduced into this?
I saw the video on MTV when I was young.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I don't know, probably 14 or so, and was instantly like hooked on the song. Picked up the album, and then slowly, as I got older, kind of dropped off with them. And then when we were working at Jocks again, Rocco was always into Jamiroquai, or he stumbled upon it somehow, and I was like, oh yeah, like I used to listen to Jamiroquai all the time.
Jeff is liking your Jamiroquai. Yeah,
my dad was into that too. Yeah, because of MTV.
Yeah,
it is.
And so it's like the three of us all had like a cursory knowledge of. We're like. Yeah, I know Virtual Insanity and that. It's sort of cool. And then we got into it.
Got really into it. Like, their first album is really fucking good. It's very much so, like, jungle sounds and drums and, like...
But it's all real. It's all real. Yeah. Like, they ain't sampling. Those guys are fucking ripping it.
Yeah, it's really
They're going to the jungle to get their noises.
Yeah.
They're going there. They're getting
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Fuck it. All right, Zach, what is your go-to #1 album for springtime?
Not that long ago.
This is newer. This is
Okay.
from last year. But I'm going to say Fishing for Fishies.
Oh, yeah.
It was a great album. You know what?
Lizard and the Lizard
I was
Wizard.
going to put them on my list too, but I figured
I haven't listened to that in a couple. That might sneak its way into my list over the next couple of years.
It's a great album.
Because I thoroughly enjoyed that fucking album.
It's King Gizzard's Boogie Woogie album.
Yep.
Everything is happy and exciting.
Now, for people that
fun.
don't know King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard, can you explain to like what type of band they are? Because this album, if you go to this album, this is one album.
Yeah.
You go check out other stuff, you might not be in for the same treatment.
Yeah, definitely not like the latest album. Like the 2 albums they released was
Because they did 2 last year.
Last year was
Infest the Rat's Nest and Fishing for Fishies.
Yeah.
Totally different albums.
Yeah.
So they're from Australia. They're a psychedelic rock band. I guess I would say. But Fishing for Fishies is their Boogie Woogie album.
It's so good.
They have albums that are more acoustic, Beatles sounding. Infest the Rat's Nest was a straight up thrash album.
Yeah.
It was one of the that show.
Yeah,
Remember
unfortunately, we're not going to be able to see them this year because all this shit. We were supposed to go and fucking see them in Philly again, but
it was incredible.
Well, that's the worst thing that's happening right now.
COVID.
Sorry, you guys are getting the worst of it.
But Fishing for Fishies for springtime is perfect. Like, it's happy, it's upbeat, you can dance to it. It's sort of a combo of all the albums we said. There's a little bit of that punk energy to it, but it is also funky.
Yep.
It's also highly intricate with the musicianship.
Oh, fuck yeah.
They are my fucking favorite
for
band.
us,
they're
good. From Australia, and there's nothing better than a band from Australia.
Yeah, dude.
Really just explore Australian music.
You will find yourself in a weird hole with that shit, though. What was that one band that you found? The dude that worked in the sex...
oh, my God. What?
Like, it starts off in the video where dudes are, like, making fun of people.
God.
And he was like something dildo drill or some shit.
To his head.
Dildosaurus or something?
What was that?
Remember.
But it will bring you down a dark web.
Yeah,
there's a lot of
anywhere you go, there's gonna be strange
Australia
stuff.
is the place
weird.
for rock and roll, new rock and roll.
Yeah, it's fucking.
You got Tame Impala on one side, and then you've got. That's the more poppy stuff.
Yeah, people know that. Yeah,
and then you've got all the pub bands. We got
literally, you
Cosmic
can look back.
Psychos, real hard
Cosmic
for a while.
Psychos. You can check out bands that we played over the last year, especially mainly the one that always jumps into my brain. And they're probably I gotta start listening to their full albums. But Jurassic was that band.
Yeah, they've been posting a lot
Tar
of
and
stuff
Smoke.
too.
Oh my God, is such a good fucking song. And then the Great Emu War, who we also played on here, they were fucking phenomenal. So yeah, I think that's a pretty good definitive guide to spring music for you guys. There's some stuff for you guys to get started listening on. Feel free to comment in the chat or on this video of what your favorite spring fling thing type of thing is. Add to the list. Spread the music. All right, guys. Now, every week we like to close our show by doing a little crossover with our Brother or Sister Love podcast. Let Me Ask You a Question, where Sir Anthony of the Angels asks a very random and weird question to the boys every single Monday, along with our Moot Monday drops of our episode on iTunes and Stitcher. So let's jump into Let Me Ask You a Question from Let Me Ask You a Question.
Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question.
All right. right, guys, as I said, skibbity bop bop. Every week I like to bring the question from Let Me Ask You a Question. They kind of had a two-parter, an unintentional two-parter, because Anthony will once in a while open up with like a warm-up question.
Sure.
His warm-up question was about how many sheets of toilet paper are you down to through all of this and what your wiping regimen was. He says that he only uses about 6. He uses 3 for the first wipe, 3 for the second wipe, but then he also admits to having terrible swamp ass throughout the day, which the boys determined was just him not wiping his ass properly enough. Right. Greg goes with 9, and then he uses 9, but then so it's like 3 of 3, and then he uses 2 wet wipes at the end. So have you
every shit?
That's his, not every, but that's his average, is what he said.
Because I shit like 12 to 18 times a day.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Would you say you've been more economical with your toilet paper through all of this, or have you just kind of been going about business as usual?
Probably more economical. I don't really pay attention to how much I'm using.
Yeah,
like
you're a little bit more conscious about it. A little bit more. Zach, and your 18 shits
I
per day.
I literally buy the cheapest toilet paper you can buy.
Yeah.
Because I go single ply. I don't care if the shit feels like cardboard on my ass. I've already been living the as economical as possible toilet paper life.
For your whole life.
For my whole life.
For your whole life.
So we probably in the next 2 days, I am getting to the end of the last big, enormous toilet paper. But I have bought more. Justin got more since then. Yeah. So we have a backup already.
Yeah. So you're good on TP.
When the whole TP shortage hit, I was just like,
whatever.
I'm already as economical as possible.
Ready to go.
I literally changed nothing about my duty habits.
Okay.
Because I was already...
You were already duty...
I was already on that wave.
You were already on the duty. Yeah.
Of the...
You were doing
use the least amount of paper while
you're
doing
diligence. You're doing
exactly.
duty diligence.
Now, my only problem is I have allergies, so I tend to blow my nose quite often.
That is where I
waste toilet paper.
I went and bought specifically, when this all started, I went and specifically bought tissues because I'm constantly blowing my nose. I am constantly annoyed with just like there's just snot in my nose.
I feel like there's never enough tissues though.
There's never enough. I am a person that uses Q-tips to clean out my nose too, because I'm just like, get the fuck in there and just like the cotton will just grip it and pull it out.
I just pick my nose.
So I'll pick my nose too, but sometimes you just
not
can't.
In public,
you can't get that. You can't get that finger all the way to where it needs to go. So the Q-tip will help you out a little bit for me. So I would say that I have been. Down to probably, like, I'm not counting, but I would assume about like half of what I was using as far as toilet paper, but now I am solidly relying on the 2 to 3 wet wipes that I am using to make sure there is nothing left at all. And I know some other people...
So you're on the wet wipe game?
Oh, I am on the wet wipe game.
I'm not.
And
I'm not into it.
But here's the problem. The wet wipe is the last thing you do, right? Like, you're supposed to wet wipe first. Some people, including Anthony, think that you wet wipe first and then use toilet paper to clean the rest of it.
That would make more sense.
It shouldn't.
It's going to make my ass wet.
Yes.
And then I got to dry my ass.
Yep.
That is the problem that people might have with it. But I am somebody that, included in my saving of toilet paper a half, I still a lot of times, because I will eat like spicy food and stuff, and you get like that wet ass, I'm not opposed to a once in a while man pond of wrapping up a little bit of toilet paper and just shoving it right up in there to absorb some of that. Hold the thing in my ass cheek.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, I just do it like right afterwards, and then the next time I go take a pee, it comes out and we're good. Like, just to make sure there's so I will use toilet paper to absorb that. So I'm still about half of what I was using, and I was probably being fairly wasteful before. But that isn't even the real question tonight. That is just a warm-up question.
Okay.
And I include it because sometimes he asks questions that we're just like, yeah, no, whatever. Like last week, would you ever be in a situation where you wouldn't be embarrassed by a fart or whatever? It's just like for Zach, it's like, come on.
Yeah.
Like, he's never embarrassed. So I like to ask the additional question once in a while. But here's the main question. Is there a job that you could have, and we'll say specifically for us, a job that you are qualified to do, that you could be too excited for and then get fired for being so excited to have that job? A job that you are just so overly all of the time, head over heels with getting to have this job. And I'll start because me as a bartender, the whole idea of like really liking my job and really liking where I work and everything, it adds. I've worked in places that I do not enjoy, and even just faking the enjoyment seems to then make other people really, really enjoy it more because they believe me because I'm lying to them. But when I thoroughly actually enjoy my job, I think that job that I'm qualified to do as a bartender, I succeed more when I'm actually thoroughly enjoying it and having a good time on a daily basis. But at the same time, I know that there are jobs that I could probably have that I could probably qualify just, you know, if I could go to the store right now and they're hiring plenty of grocery stores and get a job stocking shelves. I'm qualified to do that job. But if I was just like real super giddy about that, it might weird some people out. I don't know if it would get me fired, but it would weird me out. So the question is really, is there anything you think you would be so excited for? And maybe it's not even something you're qualified for. Something that you just go, you should not be. I think they use the idea of like an undertaker. Like you should not be like, hey, welcome to the show. Thank you for coming here with your dead body.
Is this taking into consideration you're not getting fired for being like wasted if you work at a brewery?
Yeah, I mean, maybe if you're so excited about the brewery that you're drinking the beer all the time, that could lead to it. I can see that for sure.
Crack salesman?
Yeah, crack salesman. You would totally get fired for being a crack salesman if you were just
smoke all the crack.
Or you were just so excited you told everybody you were selling crack, and that's not good for the crack business.
True.
You don't want to spread that information.
Yeah.
All right.
Put it on Facebook.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
Could you get too
personally?
Could you be somebody that is too excited in the kitchen? Have you ever worked with somebody that is way too excited?
Yeah, anybody that's starting a job and then decided they want to go to school for it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just the excitement in that, and I'm like, you need to work in the business a little bit longer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just hang
that
in
might not
here
get
a
you
little
fired,
bit
but it'll
longer.
get you quit real quick
Yeah.
if you go to school for it and then don't actually experience the industry. Keith's saying being an excited mailman.
Saki also says he would enjoy being an asshole bleacher.
An asshole bleacher.
Oh, yeah.
But then you get all of the assholes. It's not just the ones you want to see. Because sometimes maybe Kyle's asshole needs to get bleached. And then you wouldn't be so happy about that. But would you get fired for like whistling while you work as an asshole bleacher and being super stoked about it all
You're
the time?
whistling into my ass.
Yeah, what if your ass whistled first? Yeah, exactly. Zach, anything that you could think that you would get fired for being too excited over?
I sort of deal with this already in my job.
Yeah.
It's not so getting fired, it's like not getting the job.
Right.
Sometimes when you just got to mow somebody's lawn, but you see something. And landscaping, I've always been a creative person, and it is a creative thing. When you see somebody's garden or whatever, you're like, oh, what if we did this?
Yeah.
And then it's always me and Nate and Eric, and we have like, oh, what? And we did this, and how fucking cool would this be? And then you tell the homeowner, you're like, it's only gonna cost you, and you didn't like $10,000, and they're like. No, I just want you to mow the grass. Like, like it's not like I got fired from that job. That job was never
But you can
there.
be so excited every day, and you keep throwing ideas at them.
But so excited, and you see somebody's house, because we work at a lot of different homes, a lot of different businesses, and it's always different.
Yeah.
So you see something, you're like, oh, what would be perfect in this garden? A fucking 8,000-pound boulder.
Yes.
And
right in the middle.
Right in the like a huge like.
Yeah, like a yoga boulder.
And and my and Nate and Eric would look at me and go, oh yeah, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
And then we tell them, and they're like,
nope.
They're like, and how much you want to charge me for this boulder? We're like. $1 a pound. Oh, yeah. Well, all right. $2,000 boulder.
Yeah.
Put in my lawn.
Well, but we gotta move it too. We gotta move it.
Yeah,
we gotta
and
get
sometimes people are like, "Yeah, that would be great."
Yeah. But you could be so overzealous that you turn somebody off. Yeah. And maybe to the point where they turn off from you altogether, and they're like, "This guy just." All right.
Do you think anybody happened to anybody working on a Death Star?
Oh my God! Just like I'm so excited to destroy
they could be like,
these people.
We can make this better by not having that exhaust port. Where
and they're like, "Get out of here!" Maybe that's what happened. That's the secret. All right. Well, again, big thank you to the guys over at Let Me Ask You a Question for doing what they do every single week. I am trying to get on there, maybe all of us, me, I have no idea. We're going to try to do a crossover soon. Everyone's got a lot of time on their hands, so we really need to make that happen. Again, you can go to moot.tv in your web browser and check out the all of the backlog episodes of Kyle Muckle Won't Shut Up, White Wasabi, and Let Me Ask You a Question. You can also go check out their store where they've got a bunch of different Moot TV and Let Me Ask You a Question pieces of apparel. They've got bags, coffee cups, everything like that. Socks. They might have stopped doing condoms, but at one point they had a condom, I believe, with Anthony's face on the tip of it, which we could all do and see whose condom sells better. We do a competition amongst ourselves. That'd be fun to do. But again, check them out at moot.tv on Mondays on iTunes and Stitcher. It comes with a needle already pushed through it. This is a waste of time. This is for display only. All right. Again, a big thank you to everybody over at Death of an Astronaut. Again, check out Jupiter coming out April 17th, this Friday. You can find them again at Death of an Astronaut on Instagram. And then a big thank you to Mr. Justin Olampado for getting everything put together tonight.
You're welcome, man.
Thank you.
Anytime,
we really got not much else to do at this point.
It's true.
Yeah, just keeping ourselves and yourselves busy.
Yeah.
And Mr. Zachary...
I have to work tomorrow.
Stormin. Zachary, I have to humble brag work tomorrow. Stormin. All right, guys. Thank you again for everybody that joined us tonight. A lot of awesome feedback and interaction there, so we always enjoy seeing you guys there. Thank you to everybody that's listening again in the future, whether it's on YouTube, iTunes, Stitcher. Just keep making sure that you're paying attention, and share it to your friends. Tell your friends to check us out. Everybody,
if you know any musicians that want music played,
we'll play music. We'll do any. Well, if you got somebody that's an animator, we'll show some fucking animation. You got a short film, we'll show your short film.
Yeah, art.
Whatever.
We'll display it during music breaks.
And if you're a content creator that does not, we will show your big dick. If you're a content creator that does not have the platform that you want to get things out, message us. Any of us directly or any of our houseboat_TLJ on Instagram, Houseboat Tommy Lee Jones on Facebook. And yeah, we would love to work with anybody that is interested in putting out some new content. As always, here is our closing song to play us out. The greatest song we've ever written.
True.
We'll see you guys next week when our guest won't be Dave Shady. It was supposed to be Dave Shady, but with all this, we don't have him. We might still have his music, though. I got to talk to him, make sure we can get his music still. Yeah. But check back next week, guys. Have a great rest of your evening, and see you next time. Yeah, be safe. Wash your hands. Wash your asshole.
Yeah.
And watch your asshole.
Yeah.
Watch my asshole.
Watch what it does.
Fuck you.
Mood.tv.
There's nothing more egomaniacal than singing the theme music for your own show. Who am I? Kelsey Graham.